he has me on his show. I feel compelled to always have him on my show. He's the one and only Double D, Dan Dakich. You can see his show on Outkick. It's called Don't At Me, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, he was a longtime college basketball analyst, and before that, he was a head coach at Indiana, at Bowling Green, of course, at West Virginia for a very short stint, and then a longtime college basketball analyst on ESPN. And Double D joins us here on the Doug Gottlieb Show. I have my own kind of thoughts and maybe hypotheses as to what has caused the WNBA to be so negative in their approach of Caitlin Clark. What are your thoughts, Dan? You're in Indy.
You're a much deeper thinker than I am. And by the way, congrats on the new gig, man. That's going to be fun to watch. I've become a Phoenix fan, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you get to control the national narrative on you because you got your show. So good for you, man. Yeah, it's perfect. My thoughts are what my wife told me. My wife coached for years, was an All-American player, took Toledo to the College World Series, was an Olympic alternate, winning as coach at Bowling Green, winning as coach at Syracuse. And she said, look, you got to understand, women are always going to try to tear other women down in sports. They just do. And she's dealt with it her whole life. She understands it. And I see a lot of that. I see women trying to tear women down. I see jealousy. I see insecurity. People may see race. But I defer in these instances to my wife. And when she said that, and I put it on Twitter, boy, did I have a number of women that have been in athletics reach out to her and to me saying, you are so right. Obviously, Caitlin Clark has touched a nerve in the nation with her play. Her style is something that we can all relate to. It's different. A lot of people, race baiters, have made it to a black-white, a sex, straight lesbian thing. Maybe that all factors in, but my wife saying what she said to me really hit a chord with me. Women cannot stand to see other women be successful, and they will try to tear them down in sports.
Thank you. Listen, we had this conversation, and you and I both, we worked at ESPN, right? And then I've worked at CBS and at Fox. At CBS, I would say I don't think that's the case. I actually want to really give credit to CBS because CBS was different. It's a much smaller shop, but it really felt like it was different. I mean, Tracy is a really a sweetheart, and of course, Allie LaForce and Dana Jacobson. I know she's doing news now. It was different, but at ESPN and Fox, I can tell you unequivocally, okay, that the way women talk about, treat, and are catty about other women in the same field, and the crazy part about it is, and here's the similarities between broadcasting and women's professional basketball is like there's a fight for relevancy and legitimacy, right? And so why wouldn't they be all in it together, and yet they tear each other apart? Like, it's crazy what happens in the broadcast world. I know you've seen it as well.
Oh, man, ESPN, I've been told right now, the worst it's ever been, in the makeup room, in the hair deal. I've been told by people still there, you and I both have friends there, that this is a complete blank show. Yeah, I mean, instead of just doing the job, people want to, I guess, get clout, progress their career, and that's cool. Hey, look, I get it, but I would argue that ultimately that's short-lived. Now, maybe it worked for a while, but you are so right, Doug. In the broadcast world, the cattiness, the talking, and you know what? I'll say this. That's men, too. I mean, men do it the same in the broadcast world. They do. Like,
not the same.
Not
the same.
No. I agree it's not the same, but I still think they do it. Sports is a little bit different because it's so performance-based. I'm going to ask you something. You know what I would have liked to seen that Carter girl do? Instead of act like a complete moron in the press conference after, and the girl Cardoso's doing her hair, they're acting like two complete idiots. I would have loved to have seen that Carter girl say, hey, you know what? I don't like Caitlin Clark. I don't like her. Yeah, I did something that I shouldn't have done. I knocked her on her backside when I shouldn't have, but I just don't like her. I don't like the publicity she's getting. I think she talks a lot of trash. I don't think she's deserving, and I don't like her. And if you have a problem with what I did, I don't blame you. I would have loved to have seen that. So at least, you know what, Caitlin Clark, I'm sure, does rub the women the wrong way by what she's saying. Of course it rubs people the wrong way what she's getting. You know, it's like those old white golfers when Tiger Woods, you know, got all the stuff from Nike and got all the attention. And they're saying, well, let's see what he does on the course. And, well, he did it on the course, and Caitlin Clark's doing it on the course. I wish they'd just come out and be honest. Look, I don't like her, as opposed to trying to do whatever it is that they're trying to do.
It's really interesting. The other part to it is, like, this is the first time. Why do you think that there are so many either women in the WNBA or people that cover the WNBA that are so bothered by the fact that nobody paid attention to the league for the first 25 years?
Well, I think this is like, you know, a defense mechanism, an insecurity. See, we've been doing this for 25 years. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. And as great as some of these players have been, none of them are interesting. None of them captured the imagination. I mean, look, Brittany Griner is unlikable. Diana Taurasi is unlikable. You can say whatever you like, but they are. And all of a sudden, here comes a woman in Caitlin Clark that plays in a way that I think the way she plays hit perfect. You know, Steph Curry shooting threes became okay for everybody to shoot deep threes. All of a sudden, here comes somebody that just captured it. And I would argue that if somebody played like Caitlin Clark with the edge that Caitlin Clark had and played for Iowa, not UConn or not South Carolina, I think they might have captured whether she was white, black, straight, lesbian, whatever. But all those things hit for Caitlin Clark. And you know what? The insecurity comes out in the media. The insecurity, like the woman today on with Stephen A. Smith, I forget her name, but she telling Stephen A. Smith, you could have been talking about this 3 years ago. No, Doug, you hosted a show on ESPN. Play the hits.
Correct.
ESPN's going to talk about LeBron. They're going to talk about Brett Favre
right.
back in the day. They're going
to
play the damn hits. And the hits 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, had absolutely nothing to do. Doug, I'll end with this. I've done radio shows in Indy for 15 years. I took 1 year off last year on a non-compete. The year previous to that, the Fever played. I did not mention the Fever one time. Got to the end of the season, and my producer goes, you know, hey, Dan, we haven't even said the word Fever. Right. They're terrible. They're uninteresting. Now they're not. So these folks need to get over it. The WNBA players need to figure out, if you don't like her, say it. Let's get something good going here, not something stupid like knocking somebody out of bounds when they don't have the ball.
Dan Dakich joining us here on the Doug Gottlieb Show. You can see his show, Don't At Me, on Outkick, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, every day, Monday through Friday. All right, in regards to the actual league, the NBA, what do you think of the finals?
Oh man, I'm Serbian. Luka's Serbian. I'm supposed to love Luka, but I can't stand the way he plays, and then he hits a big shot. I don't know, there's something about him. And I've always really liked Kyrie Irving. To me, Kyrie Irving is the closest thing to Isaiah Thomas that I have seen. And I'll say this, I watched every minute of every Pacer game against Boston, and some of it from about the third row. I was lucky enough to get seats close. If Boston gives the opportunities to Dallas that they gave to Indiana, they're going to get beat. And Boston, you know, I think is the smartest basketball team that I may have ever seen. I mean, this Derek White, Al Horford, and Drew Holiday are like basketball savants, Doug. I couldn't stop watching Al Horford direct players on defense, offense, and this Derek White, he makes every play. But if they give the opportunity, and I don't think they will, I think they'll be a little tighter. If they give the same opportunities to Dallas, they're going to get beaten 6. I think Boston's really good. I think Boston's really smart. I think Boston will figure out a way. But I love this final. I don't know if it's sexy. I don't know if it's not, but I love this final. And everybody that badmouths Kyrie Irving, good for you, man. I mean, I know the earth is flat and all that stupid stuff, but that man can ball. I mean, ball, big-time ball. And I can't wait to see it because I love him. I saw him 4 years ago kill the Pacers here in a sweep with Boston, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against Boston. It's going to be fun, a lot of storylines.
It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. That's the voice of the one and only Double D, Dan Dakich. Dan, you're the best, man. I wish you could bring some opinions and some energy next time.
Hey, congrats again, my friend. Good luck.
You told me I told you it was like a year ago I think it was a year ago, right? When I didn't get the job, you were like, you sure you want to do this? Like, yeah. And you asked me why, and I gave you the reasons why. You're like, all right, man. Well, then you should go then do it when you want to do it. Well, I finally got the shot to do it.
Yeah, finally someone was smart enough to hire you, man. Now you got to go live in the cold. I assume you're not zooming coaching. I assume you're actually going to move there with all your other jobs.
No, we'll be there. We'll be there.
I know.
The question is, when are you coming up?
I am coming. I want to see. I like that place. I got my brains beat out there twice, but I don't mind it. We won a couple there too. So yeah, I want to go. I want to see your team. Congrats.
You're welcome. You and your bride are welcome anytime. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, brother. Bye bye.